Hi everyone, and welcome to today's session. On behalf of everyone at Rev.io, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. I'm Delaney Dabkowski, Rev.io's Field Marketing Manager. Before we begin the presentation, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items. First, audio will automatically come in through your speakers. Second, a recorded version of this webinar will be emailed to you within 2 days. Third, we will be having a Q&A session at the end of the event, so please submit your questions via the Zoom control panel at any point during the live presentation. For those of you just joining us, welcome to our What's New with Rev.io webinar series. Lori Brown started at Rev.io in May 2015 as a data migration engineer in the onboarding team and has worked as a project manager, enablement manager, solutions analyst, and now product trainer. Lori enjoys working with Rev.io clients and helping them get the most out of our incredibly versatile software so they can better serve their customers. Brendan has been with Rev.io since 2017. With a passion for sales, he started at Rev.io as a sales development representative. He was promoted to account executive, team lead, and is now a solutions consultant here at Rev.io. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to Lori and Brendan.
Hi, so this is Lori Brown. I am going to go over what's new in Rev.io. So welcome to the call today. We're going to cover a lot of items here. We're going to cover several things on ticketing. We have lots going on with ticketing right now in the system. I've got a couple of task items, a couple of order items, some updates with our bulk utility tool, and then a few miscellaneous items as well. So we're going to start with the ticket items. So the first thing I want to talk about is the bulk ticket status change resolution. So if you go to activity and tickets, you can select tickets now and you can change the status of those tickets in bulk. And we have a relatively new status. So now you can close a ticket or you can mark a ticket as resolved pending close, which would be the step just prior to closing. So you have those options available now. So you can select your tickets, cherry pick which ones you want. And then up here in the top of that ticket activity view, you can select change status of selected. And then when you submit that, it's going to ask you to set the status for the tickets that you've selected. And then if you have, so you can bulk change the status of those tickets. Now, if you select either resolved pending close or closed, you'll get the resolution box here. They'll all get the same effective date when you change the status. And for the resolved or the closed, you get a resolution box where you can put the resolution in, and that will update on all the tickets that you've selected as well. The next ticket item I want to talk about is the custom ticket field updates. So when you go to settings and tickets and you create custom ticket fields, those custom ticket fields now can be made required in order to close a ticket and or required when resolving a ticket. So if you set a ticket to resolved pending close, you can make this field required. The same thing with closing a ticket. The agent portal ticket form updates have happened so that agents logging into the agent portal now have the same experience when creating tickets as your customers do when they create tickets in the bill center. There was more limited functionality in the agent portal around tickets, and that's been updated. So the experience in the agent portal now mimics the experience that has been in the bill center when creating tickets on customer accounts. Next, we'll talk about how responses to closed tickets can now create a new ticket if you choose. So currently, when a customer responds to a closed ticket, the system will create a journal entry on the closed ticket. We've now added a setting, which is off by default. If you want to turn this on, you would need to contact client success and put in a ticket so that they can update this in the back end. Turning on this setting will now divert the email responses on a closed ticket to create a new ticket rather than creating a journal entry on the closed ticket. So if you would rather have a new ticket created, if someone responds to a closed ticket, we can set that up for you. The two tickets then, the system will assign them an association on the associations tab on the tickets, and it would show that it either follows up another ticket or it is followed up by another ticket. So it does link them together. This is best used if you're using the resolved pending close status, so that any response comes in before the ticket is actually closed. This will avoid opening new tickets. You don't want a customer to respond to a closed ticket and it create a new email if the client is just saying thank you or something like that as a response to a ticket. So if you put it into resolved pending closed, and then the customer says thank you, you can wait a certain number of days and then your hours, whatever you want to do, and then close the ticket. And then once it's closed out of the resolved pending close and is actually closed, then any response to that ticket would create a new ticket. And again, this one is one that you'll contact client success if you want to enable that. It is off by default. We have some ticket type portal options that have been created. So when you're in your ticket types, which is in settings and drop down editor, and you're editing your ticket types, now when you add a ticket type, there is an option. This has always been here. It's always said allow Bill Center users to view tickets of this type and allow Bill Center users to create tickets of this type. And now it is expanded so that it's in both portals, the agent portal and the customer portal. So it's going to allow portal users, Bill Center users and agent portal users to view tickets of this type, and to allow both portal users, Bill Center and agent portal, to create tickets of this type. So now it controls whether they're available in both Bill Center and agent portal. There's also a new email template event type for ticket merged is what it's called. So the event type ticket merged, you can now create email notifications when you merge tickets, when you merge two tickets together, that can trigger an email notification to go out to the client or to your internal team. There is a field, a token now called merged to ticket ID that you'll have access to. If you choose that event type, you'll be able to put in the merged to ticket ID for the customer so that they know what ticket number is involved now. All right, moving on to task items. Task validation on cancel. So now you can cancel tasks without having to open up the task and assigning it a user or a user group or assigning a task type. So if tasks are created, you can cancel the task. Before, it would tell you that there was an error. You had to go open the task up and assign it to a person and give it a task type before the system would allow you to cancel it. Now you can just cancel that ticket, cancel the task, and it doesn't ask you to assign it to someone before you cancel it. So that has been taken care of. And then there's also some bulk canceling of order tasks specifically. So when you have an auto order process that's on and the tasks are assigned to the order, it creates the tasks on the order. This is a view of the order screen on the tasks tab on the order. And you'll see all the process tasks that have been created here. You can now cherry pick those tasks. And then there's a link to cancel those selected tasks. So you can cancel them in bulk and not have to open up each task individually to cancel it. You can cancel them in bulk. So if the auto order process creates tasks, and some of these tasks you don't need to do. You can cherry pick them and cancel them in bulk without having to go into each task. Okay, we're going to talk about some order items now. So service detail on orders. So each service now shows its own summary of charges and its service address. You can also filter on an order on service types. So you'll see this if you have order splitting on your provider set to do not split, or if you have it set to split by service type. You could still have multiple services under a service type. But anytime you have multiple services on an order, you're now going to see, in addition to the total charges, trying to get my mouse up there, here's the total charges on this order. You have this drop down list now. So if you have no order splitting set up, you could have multiple service types on this order. So you have a drop down list now that you can select from, and you can filter to certain service types. You can also see for each of these services, there is a red box around the charges for just each individual service. And there's also an address on each service. And it'll show the address on that service. If you hover over the address, it does show you the full address, including the city, state, and zip. So you'll see the subtotals for each service now, in addition to the total overall charges on the service. You'll see each address. So if you have different addresses on this, you would see that. And you can filter by service type. We made a change to the way you delete products on an order. So in the past, this screenshot is showing you what it used to look like. In the past, when you would edit an order and delete one of the products on the order, it would set the field called on order to false. So if you deleted a product, it was actually still on the order form, but the on order field would become set to false. It kept it on the list. It just set that on order to false. So this has been updated. And now when you delete a product on an order, it actually removes the whole product. You won't see it anymore. So going forward, you won't see that product on the order at all. So you won't have to look for that on order field to be false to know which ones have been deleted. A couple of bulk utility tool item updates. All right, so pending service bulk updates. So in this services and activities section on a pending account, there's now an option here. It says select action, and there's a drop down, and there is an item here called update pending service fields. So if you're on a pending account, you can bulk update the service fields, the fields on the service types. So when you click that apply button up at the top, it's going to open up a form where you have to select the service type. You have to do each service type separately because the fields could be different on the different service types. So you select the service type that you want to update the fields on. And then you would select update selected services. You can cherry pick or you can check all. But once you've selected your service type, you've checked the services you want to update or checked all, you click update selected services. It's going to take you to a screen here where you can download the template. And the template gets downloaded, and any fields that are already populated will become populated in the template. And then you can either change the data or add to the fields that are not populated yet. Whatever you need to do there, you can update the template. And then you'll choose your file. Once you've saved it as your CSV, you'll choose your file and upload it. And then it will successfully update the fields from that template. And again, this only works on pending accounts. So these would be those accounts where you have approved a request or you've got an order on an account so that that service is not, the account's not active yet. You've approved the request and the orders are created, but it's not open yet. It's in pending status. And then we have the bulk action utility assign DIDs has been created. So you can use a template now to assign DIDs to multiple services on an account in one action. So this you would find under activity, bulk action utility, and then assign DIDs is the type that you would choose here. You would download the file template. You can fill out the information, the inventory type, which customer, if you want it to be a specific service type and a service, and then you download the template. Again, the template will pre-populate with the service ID and the service description for the account that you've chosen. And then you can populate in the telephone number field with your number and give it the description of the type of inventory that it is. And then when you upload your document, you can complete that. You can also copy and make multiples. So if you need multiple DIDs on the same service, it allows you to do that. You can add those rows in, and it will populate the DIDs in the TN. That's where you'll put them in the TN field. And then when you upload it, they'll be added to the inventory with the inventory type that you specify under the description, and it will assign it to the customer account. If the number that you've put on this template already exists in inventory in Rev.io in the DID inventory, then it will just assign that number to the service that you indicated. So it will add it if it's not there, it will assign it if it is there. And it does allow you to duplicate a service line on the template so that you can add multiple DIDs to the same service. So this eliminates having to add each service's DIDs independently. If you've got a lot of services on an account, you can do it all in this one template as a bulk action utility instead of having to edit each service individually. And then you'll be able to see those DIDs when you're on the service. A couple of miscellaneous items. The enterprise customer portal user logins. So if you have an enterprise customer portal user that exists in more than one hierarchy, so they're users in multiple accounts, they now have the same user ID and password, and they can dynamically change which entity they're viewing without having to log out and log back in. So if they're in multiple hierarchies, the system will know that, and it will display this entity dropdown with all of the customers that they are in the hierarchy for the Bill Center users, the enterprise customer portal users, and they'll be able to switch the entity and view whichever account they wish to look at. That you don't have to do anything to configure this. The system will know if they're in multiple hierarchies, and it will display this entity dropdown. If the user is not in multiple hierarchies, they won't see this entity dropdown. They'll just see the name of the customer in that space on the Bill Center. This does have to be enabled. Actually, there's a setting that needs to be turned on behind the scenes so that the system knows to look for that. Once that's turned on, you don't have to do anything other than if they're in multiple hierarchies, the system will display the entity. So if you want that turned on, you'll contact client success, put in a ticket, they can turn that setting on for you, and then the system will take care of the rest. One other item is a setting that, again, is off by default. If you want it enabled, you'll contact client success. This one will avoid $0 bills going out after the final bill. So when you turn this configuration on, again, it is off by default. Customers will not receive additional bills after the final bill has been sent unless they're manually created. They won't appear in the create bills queue. So if you need to send another bill out, you'd have to go to the customer account and send it out manually. One of the reasons for this is if you have printed bills and you send out a $0 bill on a bill print where there's a bill print fee involved in a printed bill, that bill print fee then generates a balance. So now there's a balance on the account. So it would throw it into like sort of an endless cycle where the bill print fee keeps getting generated. So more bills keep getting created. So if the final bill is 0, you don't want any more to go out. It won't create that $0 bill and therefore create the bill print fee on a $0 bill, so that whole sort of cycle will stop. So if you don't want any bills to go out after the final bill, we can turn that setting on for you. And then a couple of new REST API endpoints have been added. One called Order Services and Order Service Products. So you can access those service IDs and order IDs in the orders endpoint. And then the order group ID has also been added to the orders endpoint. And that is all I've got. Delaney, did we have any questions?
We don't have any questions right now, but we will just pause for a minute in case anybody has any, and you can submit them in the Q&A box. It looks like we don't have any questions, which means you did an amazing job, Lori, so we can hand it off to Brendan.
All right. Thank y'all for joining me.
Thanks,
Okay.
Lori.
Thanks, Lori. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. And just to get started here, we're going to review what Rev.io's integration with QuickBooks Online does, and then I'll actually demonstrate the integration. So what this integration allows you to do is to automatically push data from Rev.io into QuickBooks Online. And the data that this integration allows you to push is customers, charges, taxes, payments, and credits into QuickBooks. So I will transition over to Rev.io. And what we're going to do is we're going to first create a customer account. So we'll just add an email address. We'll just turn QuickBooks synchronization on. So we'll quickly add some services to this customer account here. We'll just add a voice service to the account here. And we'll just do 5 lines of business VoIP here. So we'll quickly complete this order and we'll backdate it so we get some charges. So let's push this back to, let's just do the 17th of May. And now we'll actually return to the customer account. So we can see here that this is now an open customer. In Rev.io, we can see the cycle date on here as well. And we have some unposted transactions too. So we'll just pivot over to QuickBooks. And we'll just go to our customers in QuickBooks. So we can see that Panera Bread is a customer in QuickBooks as well. So we have already pushed that information with the same address into QuickBooks Online. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to convert these unposted charges into a bill. So I'll just check these boxes off. Select bill here. So now we can see that we have a balance of $130.73. And if we actually go to this bill here, we can just see a breakdown of all the charges here. So it's $110.92 in these VoIP charges, and then $19.81 in taxes. So we'll just return back to the Panera Bread account, and we'll just refresh this account here. So now we can see that in QuickBooks, the balance is matching. So it's $130.73. And we have 2 journal entries on this account here. So it's broken based on both of those separate charges. And we can see here, if we drill into the journal entry, we can see it's broken into debits and credits. And we can also see our sales revenue breakdown, as well as the taxes in here. So the next thing that we're going to do is we'll just assume that we made a quick mistake and we overcharge this customer. So we're just going to give them a credit here. We'll just do it for the same product. We'll just credit them for one of those lines. So we'll convert this credit as well. So we can see we have a credit of $17.62 here. And we'll just return to the Panera Bread account in QuickBooks. So we can see that credit of $17.62 was now also posted in QuickBooks. So the last thing that we're going to do here is just showcase the last part of this integration to QuickBooks Online, which is also pushing payment information from Rev.io into QuickBooks. So let's just create a payment, and we'll pay off the remaining balance on this account. Okay, so now we can see that we've made a payment for the remaining balance. We have a balance of $0 on this account here. So we'll just return to QuickBooks and refresh one more time. So now we can see that this subtracted $113.11 from the balance. And now we have a matching balance in QuickBooks from our Rev.io account here. So just to summarize, so we showed that the Rev.io integration to QuickBooks Online can push customer data. It can also push charges, as well as taxes, credits, and then finally payment data from Rev.io into QuickBooks. And I'll take a pause here to see if there's any questions as far as this integration.
We do have a question. How can we match the payments that come in through the banking option to these?
That come in through the banking option? As long as it's a payment in Rev.io, it's going to push that payment information. Maybe I'm not understanding the question though.
We can also follow up with this one via email. We do have another. Can you do this also with commissions?
As of today, commissions is not one of the integration points that we have, but that's a great idea, and that could be a future roadmap item for this integration.
And I'm going to just take a second and launch a quick poll. And we do have another question, Brendan. Can we control what chart of account each items go into? And would
Yeah.
that be through Rev.io or QuickBooks?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Rev.io, you can map to the object in QuickBooks Online is financial accounts, and you can map that through the product GL code in Rev.io. So you can track those different charts of accounts with the integration.
All right, well, that looks like those are all the questions that we have for today. I'd like to thank our audience for joining us. And just a reminder, the full webinar recording will be emailed to you all within 2 days. And Lori and Brendan, thank you guys so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.